You're standing at a crossroads right now, and you might not even realize it. Every single moment of your life, you have a choice. You can continue doing what you've always done, thinking what you've always thought, or you can step into something greater. Prayer isn't what most people think it is. It's not begging. It's not pleading with some distant force to fix your problems. Prayer is the most powerful tool you have to align yourself with the creative energy that flows through everything in this universe. Most people pray from a place of lack. They pray because they don't have something, because they're afraid, because they feel powerless, and then they wonder why their prayers seem to go unanswered. But here's what you need to understand. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your energy, to your belief, to the vibration you're sending out into the world. When you pray from lack, you're actually reinforcing the very thing you're trying to change. You're telling the universe, I don't have this, I'm not worthy of this, I'm separate from this. And the universe, in its infinite wisdom, simply reflects back to you exactly what you're putting out. Real prayer is different. Real prayer comes from a place of knowing, not hoping. It comes from a place of gratitude, not desperation. When you truly understand the power of prayer, you realize that you're not asking for something outside of yourself to change. You're aligning yourself with what already exists in the field of infinite possibilities. Everything you could ever want, everything you could ever need, already exists right now in this present moment. The question is, are you tuned into the right frequency to receive it? Think about a radio for a moment. Your favorite station is broadcasting right now, this very second. The music, the voices, the energy of that station is flowing through the air all around you. But if your radio is tuned to a different frequency, you won't hear it. You might even convince yourself that the station doesn't exist, that it's not real, that someone lied to you about it. But the station is there. It's always been there. You're just not tuned in. Prayer is about tuning yourself to the frequency of what you want to experience in your life. Now, I want to share something with you that might challenge everything you've been taught about prayer. You are not separate from God, from Source, from the creative intelligence of the universe. Whatever name you want to give it doesn't matter. What matters is understanding that you are an expression of that force. You came from it. You are made of it. When you were born, you didn't come into this world. You came out of it like a wave comes out of the ocean. The wave isn't separate from the ocean. It's made of the exact same water, the exact same substance. And you are made of the exact same energy as the creative force that brought this entire universe into being. So when you pray, you're not talking to something outside of yourself. You're aligning yourself with the highest part of who you are. You're remembering your true nature. You're stepping out of the small, limited ego self that thinks it's powerless and stepping into the infinite, unlimited spiritual being that you truly are. This is why gratitude is so powerful in prayer. When you give thanks for something before it appears in your physical reality, you're operating from the understanding that it already exists. You're acknowledging that in the realm of pure potential, it's already done. Let me tell you something that will transform your entire relationship with prayer. There's a difference between praying for something and praying from something. When you pray for something, you're acknowledging that you don't have it. You're creating a relationship of separation between you and what you desire. But when you pray from the feeling of already having it, from the state of already being it, you collapse the distance between where you are and where you want to be. You step into the reality you wish to experience. This isn't just positive thinking. This isn't just making yourself feel good with affirmations. This is about understanding how consciousness creates reality. Everything in your physical world right now was once just a thought, just an idea, just a possibility. The chair you're sitting on, the device you might be using, the building you're in, all of it existed first as pure thought before it became physical matter. Your life works the same way. The experiences you're having right now are the physical manifestations of the thoughts, beliefs, and energies you've been holding. So many people pray and then immediately start worrying. They pray for health and then spend the rest of the day thinking about their symptoms. They pray for abundance and then obsess over their bills. They pray for love and then focus on how lonely they feel. And then they say prayer doesn't work, but prayer does work. It always works. The problem is that their prayer was just a few minutes of positive focus followed by hours and hours of negative focus. And the negative focus wins every time because that's where their dominant energy is. True prayer requires you to hold the feeling, to maintain the frequency, to stay in alignment even when your physical circumstances haven't caught up yet. This is where faith comes in. Faith isn't believing in something you can't see. Faith is knowing that what you can see is temporary and changeable. Faith is understanding that your current circumstances are simply the result of your past thinking, and that your future circumstances will be the result of your present thinking. You have the power to change the trajectory of your entire life by changing the way you think, feel, and pray right now. When you pray, you must become what you're praying for. If you're praying for peace, you must be peaceful. If you're praying for love, you must be loving. If you're praying for abundance, you must feel abundant. This is the secret that changes everything. You can't pray for something and then live in opposition to it. You can't ask for health while living in stress and anxiety. You can't ask for prosperity while feeling poor and lacking. Your prayer is not just the words you speak. Your prayer is the life you live, the energy you embody, the person you choose to be in every moment. There's a beautiful paradox in prayer that most people miss. The moment you truly surrender, the moment you truly let go of your attachment to the outcome, that's when everything shifts. As long as you're gripping tightly to your desire, as long as you're desperate for it to happen, you're actually pushing it away. It's like trying to grab water with a closed fist. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. But when you open your hand, when you relax, the water flows naturally into your palm. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. Surrender means trusting. It means knowing that there's an intelligence far greater than your limited ego mind that's orchestrating everything in your favor, even when things don't look the way you expected, even when the path takes a turn you didn't anticipate. Trust that you're being guided. Trust that there's a bigger plan unfolding. Trust that what's meant for you will never miss you, and what's not meant for you will never stick. I've seen people spend years praying for something specific, only to realize later that what they were really asking for was the feeling they thought that thing would give them. They prayed for a specific job, but what they really wanted was fulfillment. They prayed for a specific person, but what they really wanted was love. They prayed for a specific amount of money, but what they really wanted was freedom and security. And here's the beautiful thing. When you focus on the feeling rather than the form, the universe has infinite ways to deliver that feeling to you. You stop limiting yourself to one narrow path and you open yourself up to unlimited possibilities. This is why it's so important to get clear on what you truly want. Not what your parents want for you, not what society says you should want, not what you think will impress other people. What do you truly want? What lights you up? What makes you feel alive? And more importantly, why do you want it? If you want something because you think it will make you worthy, you'll never feel worthy even when you get it. If you want something because you think it will make you happy, you'll never be happy even when you achieve it. But if you want something because it's a natural expression of who you are, because it allows you to share your gifts with the world, because it helps you grow and evolve, then that's a prayer the universe can't wait to answer. Let me share something with you about the power of words in prayer. Words carry energy. Words shape reality. The ancient texts knew this. They understood that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was creative, and the Word had power. When you speak something, you set energy in motion. This is why it's so important to be mindful of how you talk about your life. Every complaint is a prayer for more things to complain about. Every expression of gratitude is a prayer for more things to be grateful for. You're always praying whether you realize it or not with every word you speak and every thought you think. Start paying attention to your language. Stop saying things like, I can't afford it, and start saying, I'm choosing to spend my money differently. Stop saying, I'm so stressed, and start saying, I'm learning to manage my energy better. Stop saying, nothing ever works out for me, and start saying, things are always working out for me, even when I can't see it yet. These aren't just semantic games. These are shifts in consciousness. These are changes in the way you relate to your reality. And when you change the way you relate to your reality changes. Prayer also requires you to get out of your own way. Your ego loves to complicate things. It loves to analyze, to figure things out, to control every detail. But the ego can't create miracles. The ego can only rearrange existing circumstances. Real transformation, real miracles come from a place beyond the ego. They come from surrendering to the flow of life, from trusting in the intelligence of the universe, from allowing things to unfold rather than trying to force them to happen. When you pray, release the how, release the when, release the who. Your job is to get clear on what you want to experience, to align your energy with that experience, and then to take inspired action when opportunities present themselves. But the details of how it all comes together, that's not your job, that's the universe's job. And the universe is far more creative, far more intelligent, and far more resourceful than your limited human mind could ever be. So many miracles are missed because people are looking for them to show up in a specific way. They're waiting for the phone to ring, but the opportunity comes through an email. They're waiting for a stranger to help them, but the help comes from a friend. They're expecting one door to open, but a completely different door swings wide. Stay open, stay flexible, stay receptive. The universe is always communicating with you, always guiding you, always sending you signs and synchronicities, but you have to be present enough to notice them. Here's something most people don't understand about prayer. It's not just about asking for what you want. It's also about asking how you can serve. It's about asking how you can be used as an instrument of love, peace, healing, and transformation in the world. When you shift from what can I get to what can I give, everything changes. When you make your life about contribution rather than accumulation, about service rather than selfishness, about love rather than fear, you align yourself with the highest purpose of your existence. The most powerful prayers are the ones where you offer yourself up to be used, where you say, use me, guide me, show me where I'm needed, show me how I can make a difference, show me how I can be a light in someone's darkness. When you pray this way, you stop being a taker and you become a giver. And the universe loves givers. The universe responds to givers because givers understand the fundamental law of the universe. What you put out, you get back. What you give, you receive. What you sow, you reap. But let me be clear about something. Giving doesn't mean depleting yourself. Giving doesn't mean sacrificing your own well-being for others. Giving doesn't mean being a martyr. Real giving comes from overflow. It comes from being so full, so abundant, so connected to Source that you naturally want to share what you have. You can't give what you don't have. So part of prayer is about filling yourself up first, about connecting to that infinite well of love and abundance within you so that you have something to give. This is why taking care of yourself is not selfish. This is why setting boundaries is not mean. This is why saying no to what drains you is not wrong. You have to protect your energy. You have to honor your needs. You have to respect your limits. Because when you're running on empty, when you're exhausted, when you're burned out, you can't show up as your best self. You can't be a light for others. You can't fulfill your purpose. Prayer is also about forgiveness. You can't hold on to resentment and expect to receive blessings. You can't harbor anger and expect to experience peace. You can't carry grudges and expect to attract love. Forgiveness isn't about condoning what someone did to you. Forgiveness isn't about saying it was okay. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the prison of the past. It's about releasing the toxic energy that's keeping you stuck. It's about choosing your own peace over your need to be right. When you forgive, you're not doing it for the other person. You're doing it for yourself. You're releasing the weight you've been carrying. You're cutting the cords that have been draining your energy. You're opening up space in your heart for new experiences, new relationships, new possibilities. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It doesn't hurt them, it hurts you. And every moment you spend replaying the past, rehearsing your grievances, telling your story of victimhood, is a moment you're not creating your future. Forgiveness is a prayer. It's a prayer for your own liberation. It's a prayer for your own healing. When you forgive someone who hurt you, you're saying to the universe, I trust that there's a bigger plan here. I trust that this experience taught me something. I trust that I'm stronger because of what I went through, and I'm ready to move forward now. That's powerful. That's transformative. That's the kind of energy that creates miracles. Now let's talk about the timing of prayer. People always want to know when their prayers will be answered. They want to know how long they have to wait. They want guarantees and timelines and certainty, but that's not how it works. Divine timing is different from human timing. What seems like a delay to you might actually be perfect timing from a higher perspective. What seems like a no might actually be a not yet. What seems like a closed door might actually be protection from something that wasn't right for you. Trust the timing of your life. Stop rushing. Stop forcing. Stop trying to make things happen before they're ready to happen. There's a season for everything. There's a time to plant and a time to harvest. There's a time to act and a time to rest. There's a time to speak and a time to listen. When you're aligned with the natural rhythms of life, when you're flowing with the current rather than swimming against it, everything becomes easier. Opportunities show up effortlessly. Doors open naturally. People come into your life at exactly the right moment. But here's what you need to understand. While you're waiting for the right timing, you can't just sit around doing nothing. You have to be preparing yourself. You have to be growing yourself. You have to be becoming the person who's ready to receive what you're asking for. If you're praying for a relationship but you haven't healed from your past, you're not ready. If you're praying for success but you're not willing to do the work, you're not ready. If you're praying for abundance but you're still operating from a scarcity mindset, you're not ready. Use the waiting time wisely. Use it to develop yourself. Use it to learn new skills. Use it to heal old wounds. Use it to raise your vibration. Use it to become the version of yourself that already has what you're praying for. Because when you become that person, when you embody that energy, the things you've been praying for will show up naturally. They won't feel like miracles anymore. They'll feel like the logical result of who you've become. Prayer is also about being specific and clear. The universe loves clarity. The universe responds to precision. You can't just pray for something good to happen and expect specific results. You have to get clear on what you actually want. What does your ideal life look like? What does your ideal day look like? Who are you surrounded by? What are you doing? How do you feel? The more specific you can be, the easier it is for the universe to deliver. But here's the tricky part. You have to be specific without being attached. You have to be clear without being rigid. You have to know what you want without needing it to look exactly a certain way. This is a delicate balance, but it's essential. When you're too attached to a specific outcome, you close yourself off to better possibilities. When you're too rigid in your expectations, you miss opportunities that come in unexpected packages. So be clear about the essence of what you want, but stay flexible about the form. Maybe you want to live by the ocean, but you're attached to a specific city. What if there's a better opportunity for you in a different coastal town? Maybe you want to work for a specific company, but you're attached to a specific position. What if there's a better role for you that you haven't even considered? Maybe you want to marry a specific type of person, but you're attached to superficial qualities. What if your perfect match looks nothing like what you expected? The universe always gives you what you need, but it doesn't always give you what you think you want. And years later, you'll look back and realize that what you received was so much better than what you were asking for. You'll see how the delays protected you. You'll see how the rejections redirected you. You'll see how the closed doors led you to better doors. But in the moment, you have to trust. You have to have faith. You have to believe that everything is unfolding perfectly, even when it doesn't feel that way. Another crucial aspect of prayer is maintaining a state of expectancy. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust that underneath the soil in the darkness something is happening. You trust that the seed is responding to the water and the nutrients and the warmth of the earth. You trust that in time a sprout will push through the surface. Your prayers are like seeds. Once you've planted them, you have to trust the process. You have to maintain the expectancy that something is growing, even when you can't see it yet. Expectancy is different from desperation. Desperation says, I need this now or I'll fall apart. Expectancy says, I know it's coming so I can relax and enjoy the journey. Desperation grips tightly. Expectancy holds loosely. Desperation comes from fear. Expectancy comes from trust. When you're in a state of expectancy, you're calm, you're peaceful, you're patient. You're not anxiously checking your phone every 5 minutes. You're not obsessing over when it's going to happen. You're simply living your life with a quiet confidence that what's meant for you is on its way. This state of expectancy is magnetic. It draws things to you. Think about people who are desperately looking for love. They often repel it because their energy is needy and clingy. But people who are content with themselves, who are enjoying their own company, who are living full lives, they naturally attract others to them. The same principle applies to everything else. When you're desperate for money, you make poor decisions. When you're anxious about your health, you create more stress in your body. When you're worried about the future, you can't enjoy the present. But when you're in a state of expectancy, when you're trusting that everything is working out, you make better decisions. You take inspired action. You notice opportunities. You say yes to things you would have been too afraid to try. You show up differently in the world, and the world responds differently to you. This is the power of prayer combined with expectancy. You're not just hoping for something to happen. You're knowing it's happening, and you're aligning your actions with that knowing. Let me tell you something about gratitude that will change the way you pray. Gratitude is the most powerful form of prayer there is. When you're grateful, you're acknowledging the abundance that already exists in your life. You're shifting your focus from what's missing to what's present. You're training your brain to look for the good rather than the bad. And whatever you focus on expands. When you focus on what you don't have, you create more lack. When you focus on what you do have, you create more abundance. Start every day with gratitude. Before you even get out of bed, think of 3 things you're grateful for. It could be as simple as your breath, your bed, your ability to see. It doesn't matter how small it seems. What matters is that you're training your mind to start the day from a positive place and end every day with gratitude. Before you go to sleep, think of 3 things that went well that day, 3 moments you appreciated, 3 blessings you received. This practice alone will transform your entire life. But don't just be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for what's coming. Be grateful for the prayers that haven't been answered yet because their time is coming. Be grateful for the lessons you're learning through challenges. Be grateful for the growth that's happening even when it's uncomfortable. Be grateful for the person you're becoming. This kind of gratitude is advanced. This kind of gratitude requires faith. But this kind of gratitude is what creates miracles. Prayer is not passive. Prayer is active. Prayer is not just something you do with your words. Prayer is something you do with your life. Every kind word you speak is a prayer. Every loving action you take is a prayer. Every time you choose peace over conflict, that's a prayer. Every time you choose forgiveness over resentment, that's a prayer. Every time you choose faith over fear, that's a prayer. You're constantly creating your reality through the choices you make, the thoughts you think, the words you speak, and the actions you take. This is why it's so important to align your entire life with what you're praying for. You can't pray for health on Sunday and then abuse your body the rest of the week. You can't pray for prosperity and then constantly talk about how broke you are. You can't pray for love and then treat yourself and others with disrespect. Your life has to match your prayers. Your actions have to align with your intentions. Your daily habits have to support your highest vision. When there's alignment between your prayers and your life, magic happens. Things start flowing. Synchronicities multiply. Opportunities appear out of nowhere. The right people show up at the right time. Resources become available. Solutions present themselves. It feels like the entire universe is conspiring in your favor. And you know what? It is. Because when you're in alignment, you're working with the current of life rather than against it. You're flowing with the river rather than trying to swim upstream. But let me be honest with you, this path is not always easy. There will be times when you doubt. There will be times when you're tempted to go back to your old ways of thinking and being. There will be times when your prayers seem to go unanswered and you wonder if any of this is real. In those moments, you have to remember who you are. You have to remember what you know. You have to remember that your current circumstances are not your final destination. The test of your faith comes when things aren't going the way you planned. Anyone can have faith when everything is perfect. Anyone can trust when life is easy. The real question is, can you maintain your faith when you can't see the path ahead? Can you trust when everything seems to be falling apart? Can you keep praying when it feels like no one is listening? This is where your power is proven. This is where you discover what you're really made of. And here's what I want you to understand. Every challenge you face is actually an invitation to go deeper into your faith. Every obstacle is an opportunity to strengthen your trust. Every moment of doubt is a chance to choose belief over fear. You're not being tested because you're being punished. You're being tested because you're being prepared. You're being stretched because you're about to expand. You're going through the fire because you're being refined into gold. So don't run from the challenges. Don't avoid the difficult times. Don't try to bypass the growth process. Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you've been praying for. The strength you're developing, the wisdom you're gaining, the character you're building, all of it is necessary for the next level of your life. You couldn't handle tomorrow's blessings with yesterday's consciousness. You have to grow into your good. You have to become the person who's ready to receive and steward what you're asking for. Prayer also requires you to release judgment. Stop judging your circumstances as good or bad. Stop labeling experiences as positive or negative. Everything is neutral until you assign meaning to it. What you might call a failure could actually be a blessing in disguise. What you might call a setback could actually be a setup for something better. What you might call a loss could actually be making room for a gain. You don't know the bigger picture. You can't see how all the pieces fit together. So stop judging and start trusting. This doesn't mean you become passive or that you don't take action to improve your situation. It means you stop resisting what is. It means you accept where you are while working towards where you want to be. It means you make peace with your present circumstances while holding a vision for something better. Resistance creates suffering. Acceptance creates peace. And from a place of peace, you can create anything. When you pray, you're not just changing your external circumstances. You're changing your internal state. You're transforming the way you see the world. You're shifting your consciousness. And when your consciousness shifts, your entire reality shifts with it. This is why two people can be in the exact same situation and have completely different experiences. One person sees obstacles while the other sees opportunities. One person feels like a victim while the other feels empowered. One person gives up while the other perseveres. It's not the circumstances that determine your experience. It's your consciousness. So if you want to change your life, change your consciousness. If you want different results, become a different person. If you want to attract better experiences, raise your vibration. And the fastest way to do all of this is through prayer. Not the kind of prayer where you beg and plead, but the kind of prayer where you align and connect. The kind of prayer where you remember who you are and what you're capable of. The kind of prayer where you step into your power and claim your good. You are not a powerless victim of circumstance. You are a powerful creator of experience. You are not at the mercy of the world around you. You are a force of nature. You are not separate from the divine. You are an expression of it. And when you fully understand this, when you fully embody this, when you fully live from this truth, your entire life transforms. Miracles become normal. Abundance becomes natural. Joy becomes your default state. This is what prayer is really about. It's about remembering. It's about awakening. It's about coming home to yourself. It's about recognizing that you already are what you've been searching for. You already have access to everything you need. You're already connected to infinite intelligence, infinite creativity, infinite love. You just forgot. You got distracted by the world. You got caught up in the illusion of separation. You started believing you were small and limited and powerless. But that was never true. It was just a story you were told, a story you bought into, a story that's kept you stuck. Today is the day you remember the truth. Today is the day you reclaim your power. Today is the day you stop playing small and step into the greatness that's always been within you. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need perfect circumstances. You just need to decide. Decide that you're done living in fear. Decide that you're done settling for less. Decide that you're ready to live the life you were meant to live. And then pray from that place. Pray from the place of already being who you want to be. Pray from the place of already having what you want to have. Pray from the place of already experiencing what you want to experience. Feel it in your body. See it in your mind. Know it in your heart. This is the prayer that changes everything. This is the prayer that moves mountains. This is the prayer that creates miracles. Your life is a reflection of your dominant thoughts and feelings. If you don't like what you're experiencing, change what you're thinking and feeling. If you want something different, become someone different. If you want to attract better, become better. And prayer is the tool that helps you do this. Prayer is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Prayer is the vehicle that takes you from your current reality to your desired reality. So pray without ceasing, not just in moments of need, but in moments of gratitude. Not just when things are hard, but when things are good. Not just for yourself, but for others. Make your entire life a prayer. Let every breath be an affirmation of your faith. Let every step be an expression of your trust. Let every day be a demonstration of your belief that you are supported, guided, protected, and loved by a force greater than anything you can comprehend. And watch what happens. Watch how your life begins to transform. Watch how opportunities begin to show up. Watch how synchronicities begin to multiply. Watch how the right people, the right resources, the right circumstances begin to appear. Not because you're lucky, not because you're special, but because you've aligned yourself with the creative power of the universe. You've tapped into the source of all that is. You've opened yourself up to receive the infinite blessings that have always been available to you. This is your time. This is your moment. Everything you've been through has prepared you for this. Every challenge has made you stronger. Every setback has made you wiser. Every disappointment has made you more resilient. You are ready. You are worthy. You are enough. And the only thing standing between you and the life of your dreams is the decision to step into your power and claim it. So make that decision now, not tomorrow. Not when circumstances are perfect, not when you feel ready. Now, decide that you're done waiting. Decide that you're done doubting. Decide that you're done playing small. Decide that from this moment forward, you're going to live as the powerful, creative, magnificent being that you truly are. And then watch as your entire world transforms to match your new way of being. The power of prayer is not something outside of you that you have to reach for. The power of prayer is something inside of you that you have to remember. It's your birthright. It's your natural state. It's who you've always been underneath all the conditioning and the fear and the doubt. And now you're waking up. Now you're remembering. Now you're reclaiming what was always yours. This is the truth that sets you free. This is the understanding that changes everything. This is the awareness that transforms your life. You are not small. You are not limited. You are not powerless. You are infinite consciousness having a human experience. You are the universe expressing itself as you. You are love made visible. And when you pray from this knowing, from this awareness, from this truth, nothing is impossible for you. Absolutely nothing.